I am the famous American, and I'm making this video because you, personally, you've probably noticed that if you have gotten your DNA test results through MyHeritage, even a few years ago like I did, they've been updated. And this changes a lot, I think for me. And so I'm making this video for anybody else who's in the same situation as I am. And okay, well, let me unpack what's changed. So, you can check out my other videos where I've talked about what my DNA test results had shown before. But I'm going to just run down through my results and then talk about what I perceive has been different. So specifically, as far as South Italian, I'm 24.4% South Italian. Now further on down the list, it shows North Italian, 3.9%. So I mean, I'm nearly a third Italian, which my mom, half of her heritage goes back to Italy. Like 100 years ago, her great-grandfather came here by boat into the United States. So I mean, that definitely checks out. And I'll get back to what that used to show as before. But so yeah, nearly a third Italian. So of the Italian, South Italian 24.4%, and North Italian would be 3.9%. And as for the rest, English 16.6%, Scottish and Welsh 14.3%, Breton, help me mispronounce that one, but ultimately I've kind of looked up, it's kind of French. Again, correct me, type 3 paragraphs to explain more about Breton, or however you want to say it. 8.8%. So again, you educate me, and I like everybody in the comments talk more about that because I don't know much about it. And then specifically French though is 4.9%, Irish 4.3%, Spanish, Basque, etc. 3.2%, Germanic 3%, Danish 1.5%, Sardinian 1.5%, which I believe is more closer to Spanish. And then America, I've got Central America 8.9%, and then on top of that 4.7% Mexico specifically. So there's the breakdown. What I've seen is different. If you look at my older videos, when I originally got my MyHeritage DNA test results, instead of Italian really even showing up at all, it was saying that I was more Spanish. And then it even put on there Middle Eastern, which those things don't show up on here quite as much as they did. I mean, it says Spanish 3.2%, and then the Sardinian thing 1.5%. So like, it's very minimal. But before it was like the main thing is that I was mainly Spanish, and now it's like you're mainly Italian. So what do we learn from this is ultimately, as they've updated these genetic markers for MyHeritage, is that ultimately this whole thing they thought was Spanish, okay, well now that's Italian. So maybe they just didn't have quite as many Italian DNA markers before, and so that's definitely changed for me. So whereas before I was technically a little over half Hispanic with the way it showed up. It was like Sephardic Jewish, and specifically Spain. Now, like I said, I'm nearly a third showing up as Italian, and again, half of my mom's heritage comes from Italy through, we can track it back to my great-grandfather coming here. And then also though, my father also is part Italian as well. The North Italian comes from him. My mom is all the Spanish Italian. But together, they both have Italian on there. Whereas before, on my dad's, it showed up that he was Spanish. So again, we can look at it through my results, through each of my parents. What have I learned here this week about MyHeritage doing these updates? Is for me personally, it's that, I don't want my phone to fall off the counter now, is that before it was Spain, now it's Italian. They've got more people with genetic markers from Italy to really give that its fair share. So, and I guess I could close by saying this. My whole life was a lie, or at least these last couple of years since I got my original DNA test results, because now it's saying something completely different. Well, now we have a better idea of that. And what's funny, in my case, it really backs up what we more so already knew, because we thought, how can my mom be half Italian descent, and yet she was only showing up 4% Italian? Well, it's because we have a more clear idea based on these markers. So look, I'm making this video just to share my experience. I don't care at all about being right. In fact, I make these videos knowing there's people out there like you know a lot more about this than I do. You can take what I'm saying with a grain of salt and really just educate everybody in the comments. Like, write a novel, go for it. Argue with each other, debate with each other. Tell me how I'm wrong, how I mispronounce Breton and how it's not really French. Like, write a novel, because I'm just someone who's saying, hey, here's what I saw, here's what I'm figuring out. I'm not pretending to know anything. Okay, I make these videos just to kind of start the conversation. You guys take it away from here. Leave the comments below.